Jaycee Horn. The Carolina Panthers decided to pick up his fifth-year option. This is something that we didn't get to touch last week, but I definitely wanted to come in here and have a conversation about it because I want to kind of gauge where we are on the set, how we're feeling about it. For me personally, this is something that you had to do. We have all gone on record. Well, actually, I don't know about you so much, Tavian, but I will say for a fact I know that me and Terrence believe that Jaycee Horn, when healthy, when available, is one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL. For me personally, I have him top 10. I don't know about you. I would love to hear where you have him at when that's the case. But I believe that Jaycee Horn is an elite talent. For me personally, it's very, 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 very frustrating to see him get hurt constantly. 2 seasons ago, he did have the year where he was able to play 15 games. He had a stellar season, once again solidifying to me that he is one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL. And then we saw, on Christmas Eve in the Detroit Lions game, he's trying to make a play, ends up fracturing his wrist or whatever the case may be. And then we get torched the following week against Tampa Bay or 2 weeks after that, whatever the case is. That is just very, very frustrating because like Terrence says on this podcast all the time, the best ability is availability. I digged it.
You're just tearing the line.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, I definitely was. Your best ability is availability. So I believe that's the case for Jaycee Horn. However, there's just simply no way the Carolina Panthers could have afforded to not pick up his option. We're looking at 2 years down the line. If we lost Jaycee Horn, we're looking at Dane Jackson. We're looking at Shaw. We're looking at Troy Hill. And I don't even know the details on Troy Hill's deal because I know that we re-signed him this offseason, but I don't remember if it was a multi-year deal, if it was just one season, whatever the case may be. But what I do know is that there was just simply no way we could risk not picking up Jaycee Horn's fifth-year option when you look at that cornerback room right now. And even if you do go get a guy like a Stephon Gilmore or Xavier Howard, who I mentioned earlier, those guys are older. Those guys are on the back end of their career. They are a good fix for 2 seasons at the max. And hopefully we'll see. Maybe this season Jaycee Horn earns himself an extension. But right now I think the safe play was to pick up his fifth-year option and to just go with it, see what he's able to do this season, and then, let things fall as they may. But I would like to get y'all's feedback and kind of see how y'all feel about it. I think that it was the right move.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, with what I hate to keep going back to this, but with what you did in the draft at the cornerback position, there's no way that you could afford to not pick up his fifth-year option. And like you said, ask me where would I rank JC. I mean, I was campaigning for when he got drafted. Wherever y'all had Patrick Surtain at, put him above him. I like him better than Patrick Surtain. After what I seen DJ Moore do to him, I lost respect for him. So I like him better than Patrick Surtain. Most people have him top 10. So I think when JC is healthy, he's top 10 as well. But, I mean, also he's played over less than half of the games that he could have possibly played throughout his career. I think he's played like 22 out of 51 games. Obviously, that's not something that you want to see out of a guy you drafted with your first pick, however many years ago it was. So I feel like you have to keep him at least until you can replace him. And the guys that you're bringing in this year, potentially a Stephon Gilmore, potentially an Xavier Howard, Charles Smith Wade, like those are not guys that are going to replace Jaycee Horn. So, I mean, like we said, if he can stay healthy, he's one of the best corners in the league. So that's the chance that you got to take on him. If picking that fifth-year option up is the chance you're willing to take on him, then I'm completely fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have a choice. You don't really have any other cornerbacks on your roster that can perform at an elite level consistently outside of JC. JC, at least when healthy, does perform relatively well. I would say he treads in that top 10 cornerbacks in the league territory when he plays and when he's out there. But the only problem is he's just never out there. And that's, again, going back to the draft conversation, why it was really imperative that you drafted a cornerback with some upside, because you need to take a chance on a guy who you need to add depth in that room, because there is none. You lost Deontay Jackson. You don't have a Stephon Gilmore in the room yet. You don't have an Xavier Howard in the room yet. You don't have anything. You have a Troy Hill. You have a what's bro's name?
Dame Jackson.
Dame Jackson and a Chaw Smith, and then whatever else you can manage to get off the scrap heap right before training camp. And it's just a really it's nasty, man, and that can really bring down a team. I mean, just look at what happened with the Philly last year. At the end of the season, people realized that they couldn't cover, and they started attacking them cornerbacks, and it was an early exit. They lost like 4 of the last 5 games of the season, and it was an early exit from the playoffs. Once that gets exposed, there's no going back. Once people realize you can't cover your shot. And unfortunately, the Panthers might find themselves in that situation if JC goes down.
Yeah, and that kind of opens up a deeper, darker conversation, to be honest with you, because, I mean, I am definitely one of the guys that believe that we had to get weapons for Bryce Young. But I fear that we may have focused on that way, way, way too much this offseason, because you look at the offensive side of the ball, we got Lewis, Hunt, Deontay, JT, Jonathan Brooks, X. Like, we did a lot to give Bryce Young that help. But if you look defensively, I mean, you brought in Josie Jewell, and with all due respect, I haven't watched him play enough to even really have an opinion right now. But I just don't believe that he's really a line mover. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe that he's really going to win you many football games, especially when you look at you lost your cornerback too. You lost your star edge rusher. You lost Frankie Louvu, wherever you have him ranked in the league. I believe, for me personally, he's an all-pro. So it's like I said, it opens up a deeper, darker conversation, because that is going to be a problem. That is going to be a problem. And we had that conversation 3 or 4 weeks ago when you guys told me, that's just where the NFL is right now. And I understand that and I get that, but the best thing from an approach standpoint when you're looking at the NFL is to have complementary football, have the ability to play complementary football. And we saw that on multiple occasions last year where that simply wasn't the case. So now you take your strongest unit, which was the defense last year. We saw multiple games where the defense was only allowing, 12, 13, 16 points. And we said, I want to say, what was the number that we said? Do you remember? If your defense holds them to 17 or 18 points a game, there's no way that you don't win. There's no way you shouldn't be winning those ball games. Now it's just like you're gonna have to damn near be in a shootout every week.
You're gonna put up 28 and still lose a game,
and you're still gonna lose. So like I said, it's a deeper, darker conversation. As the offseason goes on, we'll look at it more, because what we haven't really touched on is the fact that at some point or another, these guys will start to get cut from different organizations, different teams, and we'll be able to kind of, pick off of that a little bit. I did see Dan Morgan mention a waiver wire not too long ago. I want to say last week he was talking about the waiver wire and our positioning there and things like that. So
I think we're priority number 1.
Yeah, so, so we got to go ahead and start getting active as soon as we have the ability to. But, yeah, it's, like I said,
Well, just to circle back to that, like the defensive situation, I think that this puts a lot of pressure on the guys that you bring in. This puts a lot of pressure on Jadeveon Clowney. This puts a lot of pressure on DJ Wanham. This puts a lot of pressure on Derrick Brown, because the only way that you can disguise terrible secondary is to have guys up front who can get to the quarterback.
Very true.
So, I mean, Derrick Brown, you just got paid. Go do what you got paid to do.
Is that alarming, though? Because a lot of the times we see guys get paid. We see guys have phenomenal seasons, and then the year after or 2 years after, whatever the case may be, they become a shell of what we believe them to be.
Don't be surprised when you see Derrick Brown's numbers dip this season.
I think
they don't have the threat of a DB on the outside. Like, BB. While Brian Burns wasn't really much to write home about last season, he was still Brian Burns, and
he was still a threat.
You still had to account for him. And I would say that there was probably game plans tailored specifically to stop Brian Burns, and that's kind of what allowed Derrick Brown to get free. But now it's going to be game plans tailored to stop Derrick Brown. So now it's going to be up to a DJ Wanham, a Jadeveon Clowney.
That we just brought from the draft, Crumity. He's going to have an opportunity, in my opinion, as well.
Which
I'm not going to put too much stock in a 6th rounder, but
which I think Derrick Brown's numbers is going to dip because he had a
historic year.
Yeah, he had a historic year. So, I mean, that's very hard to follow that up. But, I mean, at the same time, you just got to do what you got paid to do. Like, all of these guys that we bought in to get opportunities, Jadeveon Clowney, you're on the back end of your career. This is your chance to, I mean, playing for your hometown team, basically, from out of South Carolina. So, I mean, this is a chance to, do what you've been looking to do. DJ Wanham, very young guy. I mean, this is a chance for you to get that star status that you're probably searching for. You don't have a better opportunity than this. So, I mean, that side of the ball has to step up. But, I mean, in the long run, you're still going to need another corner. You have to sign another corner.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's essential. Yeah, I was about to say it's essential.
But
go ahead.
I was going to say, to the other side of that argument, though, this is exactly why I said to y'all,
that's where I was going to, I think.
Yeah, to y'all on YouTube that has something to say about my predictions for Bryce Young. This is exactly why Bryce Young is going to go Fed this year, because he's really not going to have a choice. You done loaded up the offensive side, and you're going to find yourself in a lot of games where you're going to have to put up a lot of points to even be competitive, because this defense just simply is not going to be the Carolina Panthers defense that we've grown accustomed to since like 2012, where they were just they were a unit. It was the driving force of the team. While you had Cam, while you had C-Mac, you had DJ Moore, everybody knew the Carolina Panthers ran through Luke Kuechly and that defensive side of the ball. So that's you're going to see a shift in culture for the Carolina Panthers, and that's exactly why Bryce Young is going to go Fed this year, and y'all niggas don't know what y'all talking about. So get off my nuts.
Well, that being said, another name, and I'm just going to throw this out here, and I'm going to say it quick, and we're going to move on. So please have our next topic ready, because I already know how he's going to look at me. Another guy that I'm going to be looking very, very closely at in training camp, because, again, that defensive side of the ball is going to have to show us something. DJ Johnson. And I know, hey, listen, I know that I have been the main one slandering his name.
You said he was the worst player you've ever seen.
Well, he has the ability. And you want me to tell you something? 2 years ago, I would have said the same thing about YGM.
No, you didn't go that low, bro.
He was slandering YGM.
He never said YGM was the worst player he's ever seen.
He didn't go
that
bad.
He said DJ Johnson was the worst player he's ever seen. That's a lot to
facts.
come back from.
Yeah, that damn near is facts from last season. He probably is the worst NFL player I've ever seen in my life. But I'm gonna be watching him. I'm gonna be watching him at training camp, and I'm gonna be cheering him on because he plays for my team, and I see we're gonna have a problem. I already see it. So I mean, Jadeveon and DJ Wanham, that's who they're gonna put on the edges. Okay, when they get tired, then what? Because don't forget, we seen when Brian Burns would come out for 5, 6, 7 snaps at a time, and YGM was serviceable enough last season. Was serviceable enough for there not to be much drop-off, especially with the effort we were getting.
I wouldn't say YGM was serviceable enough as much as Brian Burns just completely underperformed. But
the thing we went past it. Why the fuck are you coming out for 6 or 7 snaps at a time? That's the deeper, darker conversation.
That is. I remember what was that 2 years ago when we were playing Brady.
Yeah,
that same game we were talking about with Jaycee Horn,
and he just wasn't
in the fourth quarter. Oh, I wanted to crash out.
I remember that.
I wanted to crash so bad. Oh my god,
we was at each other necks for that.
Why
were you wanting to crash? Because the viewers might not have been here 2 years ago.
That's very true. I wanted to crash because I just don't believe that if you're a player that is requesting $30 million a year. Now, obviously, he wasn't requesting that at that time. But the rumors were starting about him wanting
25, 28.
Right, about the contract. Exactly. So then we went through the off season. He shows up at training camp, whatever. But a guy that was asking for the amount of money that he was, a guy that I believed was a young up-and-coming star, a top pass rusher in the NFL, there's just simply no way that when the playoffs are on the line, when you have the ability to literally resurrect yourself from hell, where we were in Matt Rule, and then Steve Wilkes comes in and resurrects us, and you have the ability to do something great, something that nobody, even in your locker room, believed was possible. And you coming out on the bitch-ass side, you coming out in the fourth quarter against the greatest quarterback to ever do this shit, and you coming out, and we don't got no cornerback besides Keith Taylor, and this was against the Bucs. Mm-hmm. And he came out, and he over there fucking jacking himself off on the sideline, acting like he's tired.
And I made
quarter.
I made the argument that he was hurt because he immediately had surgery after right after the season ended.
And I didn't give a fuck. Are you a dog? Are you a demon? Or you not?
Well, I mean, we found out he's not.
Yeah.
He's in New York now.
Toodles, bitch.
Well, I mean, you the one. Never mind.
Yeah, I want to crash. But what did I say? 7 to 10 business days? Did I not say that? Give me 7 to 10 business days to be emotional. Let me get my shit off. Whatever I need to say, let me get it off my chest.
Because you were damn near about to cry to get him back.
No, I was never about to cry to get him back. I may have been about to cry about getting Frankie Louvu back, but not about BB.
No, bro. You went on here for a week and 2 weeks straight. I don't know why we did him like that. This is what we got to replace him with. So I mean, cool.
If you thought that was bad, you should have seen him when Cam left. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, that was, I'm not gonna lie, that was wicked.
Hey, for the viewers, just a little detour for y'all, man. When Cam Newton first got let go of by the Panthers, JJ was staying at my apartment at the time, man, and I walked downstairs. It's like 8 in the morning, and it's a Cam Newton highlight tape going on YouTube, and JJ's in front of the TV, not sitting on the couch, bro. He's standing in front of this is a 65-inch TV, bro. He's standing 2 feet from the TV with his arms crossed, damn near in tears, watching Cam Newton highlight.
Just soft.
that story is 100% true. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to the people at all. That is 100% true.
I think that might have been one of my favorite memories of living in Copper.
Yeah, that was a dark day for me for sure.